What is good, y'all? It's the Dynasty show here Sunday nights. Song, what up? Crispy was good. Tonight, just me tonight. I got my wide receiver rankings. I broken them up into tiers, so we can go over the wide receiver rankings. If you're not following on Instagram, make sure you are Dynasty Life Fantasy. I put them out last week. But yeah, let's go over the wide receiver rankings. Let's go over my third guy of the Supernova 12. So we'll be getting into that a little bit. Uh, right into the wide receivers here, and these are my rankings, hammers or anybody else's. So these are just mine in particular. So I'll talk about it. There's a lot of guys that you'll be surprised about, but of course you got Kevin. What up? Of course you got JJ at number one and Chase at number two, up in that first tier. I mean, you can interchange them. You could put Chase first. I mean, I won't argue that because the quarterback situation is going to be murky. in Minnesota. We don't know what's happening with Kirk Cousins. They're deciding not to extend him. So I think depending how far they get in the playoffs might determine whether Kirk Cousins comes back or not. I mean, the defense is bad, but our offense, I mean, we went out and got Addison, we got Hawkinson. So I expect us to air it out. I think we're going to throw the ball a lot this year. So can't argue if you want to put Chase ahead of him because of the quarterback situation. Right to Joe Burrow, he's going to be tied to him for a very long time. Joe Burrow is going to be throwing 35 plus touchdowns a year. And Jamar Chase, all he has to do is stay healthy and he's going to ball out. So if you want to put Jamar Chase ahead of JJ, then it's fine. But I've got JJ ahead of him. I just think JJ is a better overall talent. And I don't think the Vikings will make that just go to waste. I think if it's not Kirk Cousins, it should be somebody else that should be pretty good, but we'll see. Wide receiver 3 would be CeeDee Lamb in the next tier. So starting off the second tier, you got CeeDee Lamb because Jay and Chase are just kinda a step above of everybody else that's out there. So that CD starting off that 3rd tier, I mean, he didn't even play the whole season with Dak, and he still had, what, 107 catches, like 1,300 yards. I mean, whole season. I mean, CD, there's a chance there's still another year that CD can hit. You know, can he get 1,500, 1,600 yards with a healthy Dak all season? I don't know. We'll see. But he leads off the tier here for me, mainly because of the age. Because him and AJ Brown, I kind of have the same. I mean, they're interchangeable. Pick who you like more. But CD just he is a little bit younger and hasn't been injured as much. I mean, AJ is a bully out there, so he's a guy that does come with a little bit of injury concern. Albert, what up? AJ Brown in my wide receiver 4 dynasty, off that second tier right after CD. But I mean, I'll surprise you all because I'm gonna have Garrett Wilson up here in this tier, and I'm gonna have him before AJ Brown because of that age, because now he's playing with Aaron Rodgers. I have Garrett Wilson as my wide receiver 4 in Dynasty. I don't know. Tell me how y'all think about that. I mean, he is climbing up rankings, but I mean, listen, for 2 yards per route run last season as a rookie, guy that had over 1,100 yards as a rookie with straight garbage quarterback play. Now gets a Hall of Fame QB in Aaron Rodgers, who throws 35 plus TDs a year in his best days. I mean, now he's got guy like Garrett Wilson, just like he had Devontae Adams. Obviously, last year was a down year. No Devontae Adams, bunch of rookies on that team. Got Garrett Wilson here as the number 4 wide receiver, and AJ Brown as the number 5. Ends the tier right there because I think there's a little bit of a tier drop after those 5 guys. Oh, starting off this tier 3 is going to be Sun God. We've been saying for years now that once guys get healthy, his target share is going to come down, but he's still one of the leaders in the league in his target shares, targets per route run. He's just constantly getting targeted, just dominating in that slot position for the Lions. And it's his rookie year, the second half of the season after they changed the offensive coordinator, he just has been unstoppable. I mean, even last season, he came out a couple games, so his fantasy points per game is a little bit skewed because he did come out early in two of the games. JMO, who is on suspension, there uh, was recent news that JMO actually. There's recent news that JMO did not make a bet in the team facility. They were on the road, and he made a bet at the hotel. So I don't know if this can be appealed or if he gets less games. I'm not exactly sure what the rule is, but he might not miss first 6 games of the season. Pick Jefferson first overall in a single QB, half PPR, 10-man league. I'm thinking CMC or Jefferson. Hopefully, G. Wilson comes back to me. Yeah, I'd take Jefferson in a single QB because you don't got to go QB that early. So, yeah, I mean, it's 10-man. I mean, how many starters is it, Song? Often. Got to go Jefferson and on to that. I mean, you can't go wrong there. Go wrong there. Perfect guy to start the team with, one QB. So you're still gonna yeah, it start 10. I mean, yeah, I'd still take. Yeah, I'd take Jefferson there. Jefferson there. Yeah, even when JMO comes back, JMO is JMO and St. Brown are kind of complement each other, right? St. Brown is that underneath intermediate guy, and then you got JMO kind of taking it off the top, those more deeper kind of routes with that speed. So I don't think JMO is going to be an issue for St. Brown at all. Laporte is definitely not going to be an issue. Hawkinson wasn't. Gibbs is not going to be an issue. Swift wasn't. So I just don't see, how much worse St. Brown can get. I only see him kind of going up from here. So St. Brown leading off this third tier. Then we've got Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle has done it both ways. 2 years in a row, rookie season did it PPR wise, and then last season did it with the yards after the catch. Yeah, bro, no doubt. But yeah, Jalen Waddle coming in next year. It's my wide receiver 7. Because yeah, you do it both ways. He's with Tua. I mean, as long as Tua is healthy. Now there is a little bit of risk with Tua because don't forget he has been concussed. You've got Cheetah on the other side, who is the wide receiver 1 on that team. And if Tua goes down, I don't know if both of these guys can be still as relevant. But Jalen Waddle's still relatively young. I mean, very good efficiency wise. A very safe guy to go with, I feel like. But again, we've got to hope that Tua stays healthy because that will just kind of increase his value if Tua continues to do his thing. Oh, after Jalen Waddle, we've got my guy Chris Olave, wide receiver 8 in this third tier here, right after Jalen Waddle. And these guys are all kind of interchangeable. Kind of pick who you like. That's why they're in the same tier there. But Chris Olave over 1,000 yards last year. I didn't even play all the games. I think he missed 2 games with pretty not great QB play. Chris Olave is a guy I think takes a step up this year. You got Derek Carr, who was just beating Devontae Adams. So he knows how to kind of get the ball to a receiver. You saw Hunter Renfro with over 100 catches that season 2 years ago. Yeah, I really like Chris Olave this year. Michael Thomas is coming back, but he's not the same Michael Thomas of old. Kind of getting up there in age. Uh, yeah, man. Appreciate you for coming in, Garland. I got Chris Olave as my wide receiver 8 there. There is one more wide receiver in this tier, and it's very controversial. I've been taking some slack for it, but I'm still going to have him there because I think the long term outlook is what I'm looking at here, and just value wise, I mean, this is where he's being valued in the dynasty community, just in general. But I've got JSN up here. Lockett and Metcalf are on that team. There's a chance Lockett's not on that team after next season. A guy that's going to be in the slot can also play outside, but we saw Lockett and Metcalf together both both be top 15 wide receivers in fantasy. Question is Geno going to continue to be the quarterback? Geno going to be the quarterback that we saw the first half of the season, or is he going to be the quarterback we saw the second half of the season? Who's going to be the quarterback going forward? Especially if Geno not the same quarterback that he was that first half of the season. So that, of course, is a little worrisome. But again, we're going to talk about or we're going to go with the talent in Dynasty over the situation because situations change yearly all the time. So we're going to go with the talent over the situation. And I mean, just an incredible yards per route run in college, over three. Uh, played in the same offense with Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, and both of these guys are up here. Who produced those guys in college with those guys, same guys on the field together. They've been successful in the NFL. So how much, how good do we think this guy is going to be? He's got to be at least right up there in that area with these other two guys. If these guys were successful in the NFL, I don't see how there's any reason why, JSN wouldn't be and why he wouldn't be, up here sooner or later. So, yeah, a little bit longer term outlook, but that's who I got there. Uh, my wide receiver 9 in Dynasty. I know he's a rookie. And listen, Marvin Harrison Jr. next year is going to be a top 10 guy as well. So, Bayou, what up, Bayou? Appreciate you for coming in, brother. Just hit that like if you're out there. Hit that sub if you're new. Appreciate y'all. Trading Cup for a first and Danny Gray. Okay, I'll take the first. I mean, what is it? An early first? Is it a mid first? Is it a late first? What's the situation on your team, Chris? Are you trying to rebuild? Because instead of just getting the first, maybe you go after one of these young wide receivers up here, right? I mean, are you totally rebuilding? Do you go and get a JSN, an Olave, a Garrett Wilson? I mean, how everybody else feels in that league about some of these young guys because every league is a little bit different. So, an important part is always knowing your league, but somebody's always going to be looking for immediate fantasy production because everybody's trying to win now. So, if you can move Cup for a young wide receiver that might not produce as much as that veteran wide receiver right now, then absolutely you can go and make that trade. So my next wide receiver I got up here is T Higgins. To start off the tier 4 here is Mr. T Higgins. I mean, wide receiver 13 in fantasy points per game last year. And he came out 2 games early, so you got to take that into consideration as well. In one of those games, he played like 1 or 2 snaps. He came out, so he's up there in his fantasy points per game, tied to the elite quarterback, Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow, I mean, is trying to take a team friendlier contract. Maybe they keep T Higgins and Jamar Chase. That would be ideal. They can keep both of those guys. But even if they don't, I mean, I think he can be a wide receiver 1 somewhere else. He just got to stay healthy. Got to stay healthy. My But T Higgins, wide receiver 10, moving off his fourth tier here. Drake London, wide receiver 11, comes in right after T Higgins. Drake London is a guy that I love. I mean, second in target share last year, like fifth in target rate. So both top five. So he's commanding targets at an elite rate. Uh, over 2+ yards per route run last season. He is the wide receiver 1. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Love it. Yeah, Drake London has all of the metrics point to it, the draft capital, the draft profile. Everything points to him being a elite wide receiver in the NFL. And what he did last year at, 21 years old, I mean, almost 900 yards on a straight garbage offense that they couldn't even trust Mariota to throw the football. Now Desmond Ritter, who threw the ball almost 30 times a game last year in those last 4 starts, was hot with London. So I like London this season as a breakout guy. So following Drake London, we've got Devonta Smith, the Eagles. Sitting across from AJ, we saw that first season he had about 900 yards receiving. Um, bullied a little bit on the outside. They went out and got AJ Brown, and now Devonta Smith is just as a top 10 wide receiver, 2 guys in the top 10 there. So, Devonta Smith, as long as he's on the Eagles, as long as Jalen Hurts is there, I mean, he's going to be in the top 15, top 20 every single season. Oh, you gotta love Devonta Smith, and he's young enough, 24 years old, but, a guy that you can kinda build around. So, Devonta Smith there, and now ending this tier in tier 4 is gonna be DK. And a lot of people have complained, "How can you have JSN above DK?" And listen, DK was wide receiver 24 in fantasy points per game last year. Just don't see how much better he can get in that offense, with Geno Smith. Like, feel like yes, he can do the same thing, and he can be that high end wide receiver 2 with wide receiver 1 upside. But I feel like JSN has got wide receiver 1 upside, pretty early. After this first season, second season, I expect JSN to be, 100 catch guy. So we'll see what happens with DK. Love DK. He's a young guy. I mean, he's only 25. And I feel like he's more of a high end wide receiver 2 than he is a wide receiver 1, which is why I have him, back here, back end of this tier 4 here. And these are all guys that you want to build around, right? I mean, those early rounds in your dynasty startup, very important to get guys that you can build around, your core guys, so that you can compete for a longer period of time. And that's how I rank my guys. You notice I don't have any of the older guys up here yet, like Diggs or Cheetah or Cup, because I don't want to build my team around those guys. I want those guys to help me, get over the top and help me win the championship. I don't want to build my team around those guys because that just gives me a shorter window. And there's many different ways that you can play dynasty. You can go after those older guys first. You can just look at that short, 2 to 3 year window, and then after that you can rebuild. So it all depends on what you like to do, what you enjoy doing. So, but all right, let's go to tier 5 here. Let's start off the tier 5, and we can't hold off on these veterans too much longer because the production is just going to be starting to outweigh the age and the value. So here we go with Cheetah starting off tier 5, and these guys are now a little bit older. Okay, they're losing value as they get older. Cheetah already has said he's going to retire after his contract with the Dolphins. Does he play more than that? I mean, I don't know, but he is getting to that age cliff where, he's at the top of his production, and possible the decline starts somewhere in these next, 1 to 2 years. So, but love Cheetah. It's just a matter of, can you afford to let him die on your team? Do you have core players to build around? So that's typically how I like to build. Is I like to build around my wide receivers, get young core wide receivers, and when I'm ready to really compete and push the envelope, then I'm willing to go out and buy some of these veterans, the wide receivers or the running back. Because during the season there is a bunch of opening up of trades and guys that become available. Because if teams are not going to make the playoffs and they're not in good position, they may want to trade some of these older guys so they can get younger. So Derek, what up? Yeah, you, brother. We said second year dynasty. I still have Ayuk, Pittman, Hopkins, Kirk, Mike Williams, and Gallup. Okay, I love Ayuk. Pittman is okay. Like if you can use Pittman to tier up, um, that would be good. So I guess if you're trading Cup, you're trying to start over. Can you trade Cup for one of these young wide receivers? Pair up with Ayuk. You know, Pittman is still relatively young, but you pair up, Pittman and D Hop to get another one of these younger wide receivers, right? So you can kind of rebuild, but at the same time, you're still going to kind of be able to compete. Kirk is okay. Mike Williams, Gallup. Can you combine some of those guys and come off and tear up a tiny bit? Our receiver there as well. So there's a couple moves that it looks like you can make to kind of shape up your team. Appreciate you, Derek. Bro, smoking my game blunt in the garage, watching you drop that knowledge on us. Appreciate you, Derek. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, I don't relatively smoke on my channel. Only on the 420 group, only with the 420 group. But yeah, so I got Cheetah here, and you guys let me know what you guys think. Like, how do you guys value the production, the age, the value? Because rankings, especially dynasty rankings, are just very subjective to how you want to play and how you build your team. Like, this doesn't mean that I would rather have ASN than Cheetah if I'm in win now mode, right? And that in that sense, yes, I would want Cheetah over JSN. So depending on your team roster construction, like that depends on which of these guys, that you want. But when I'm in a dynasty startup, like this is kind of how I see things. This is kind of how I see the board, how I want to build my team. So, this is exactly how I see it, how I draft, how I kind of break it down into the different tiers and what are the guys I'm looking at in those specific areas. So, for me, I just don't want to start my team with, a Cheetah or a Cooper Cup or a Stephon Diggs as my number one wide receiver, unless you're playing in a specific format that can favor that. Okay, if you're playing in a short like start eight, then yes, maybe the running backs are a little bit more valuable, and the wide receivers is better to kind of just stay in that win now mode because you need the hammers in order to win with that short format. So you're good, bro. You're good, bro. I should, but it's hard when I'm by myself, bro, because then I can't smoke and talk at the same time. So, uh, already said waiting on Addison. Yeah, yeah, I feel you. Listen, will get here sooner or later, bro. Right, so after Cheetah, we got Stephon Diggs. He's still going strong. He's still got a few more years left in the league. He's still top 10, every season. He's tied to Josh Allen. So you can expect Stephon Diggs to continue to do what he's doing for the next few years, but he is getting up there in age. The value is starting to decline. So that's why I have him here in this same range, followed up by Cooper Cup, right? I'll follow that up with Cooper Cup, who's another aging wide receiver. Cooper Cup, a little bit more risky. I mean, we saw what happened last season with Stafford. Did not play well. Still was feeding Cooper Cup, but is Stafford going to be the long term QB? Are the Rams going to be so bad that they go into a rebuild? And does that hurt Cooper Cup? So yeah, I mean, Cooper Cup is coming off an injury again. Don't forget, and he is an older guy now. With those older guys, these ankle injuries, his foot injuries, it's hard on them. It's a lot harder on them. We saw Keenan Allen last year with the hamstring. I mean, he missed like 10 games with that damn hamstring. So it's rough. It's rough, bro. Yeah, all good, bro. So it's hard with some of these older guys. Like I don't want to take the chance on Cup. I'd rather just go pay for Diggs or Cheetah than go out and pay for Cup. You know, Especially if I'm in win now mode. So, all right, and this is a big tier here. But after Cooper Cup, we got Jerry Judy. And I'm a big fan of Jerry Judy, especially this year. Finished out the season strong, and now you've got Russell Wilson, who I don't know how much worse he can get from last season. That was just bad. You got Sean Payton coming in, Hall of Fame coach, who hopefully turns things around. I mean, he knows how to use his talent on offense, so you would think that Jerry Judy would get fed Devontae Williams eventually if he's healthy. So Jerry Judy is the clear cut number one guy, and it seems like this is the season hopefully that he breaks out. Everything is kind of lining up for him to be the breakout guy. Oh, after Jerry Judy, we got Devontae Adams. We can't hold off on Devontae too much longer. I mean, we saw even what he did with the backup quarterback last year, that last game of the season. What do you have? 3 touchdowns. So with Jimmy G, looks like Jimmy G is going to be okay. He's going to be the starter. So I'm okay with Devontae. I don't know how much further I can put him down. I personally don't like Devontae. I would not, draft him in a startup at all. Unless obviously he's fallen into a crazy range. But Not a guy I'm really all in on for this particular season. I just think that things are not lining up they once were. Being how old he is, it's just rough. I mean, the value is just incredibly down as it is. So I'll pass on Devontae this year. Yeah, he always he is a beast, and I'm not arguing that he's not a beast. But there are things that are out of his control. The environment around him, the QB. There's a lot of things out of his control that especially at that age. Like he can still put up 1,200, 1,300 yards. I think. No, I'm not saying that he won't, but it might be short-lived, and the chances are a little. It's going to be a little bit harder for him to do that this particular season than it was last season. So that's why we got Devontae there. Now after Devontae, we got my boy Brandon Ayuk, who was my guy last season. Last season had said that he was going to be better than Debo. He's going to have a better season than Debo. Now Debo got hurt, so can't take all the credit for that. But Ayuk is a guy that all of a sudden now DBs just can't hang with. They can't cover him. His route running, his separation, getting off the line. He's excelling at all of these things. And last year finished wide receiver 15 in full PPR. And it kinda can only go up from here. I'm excited for if Trey Lance is a starter, I think, the ceiling's even higher for a guy like Ayuk. If Brock Purdy's a starter, he might be around the same, but yeah, that's one of the things with Devontae is he's a great deep ball catcher. He's a great guy, you know, deep, and we saw last year, a bunch of bombs and just long completions, and Jimmy's not that kind of guy, but we'll see, we'll see what happens, but I'm a little bit worried, about Devontae there, but yeah, Ayuk is my guy, and he's a young guy too, 25 years old. I mean, we'll see what they do with him after, this season. It is a contract season for him, so we'll see if he winds up staying on the 49ers or if they let him go. Yeah, I've got Ayuk here as my wide receiver, what is this, 19 now, this 5th tier. There's one more guy in this 5th tier, and just can't put him any lower than can't put him any lower than this because he is a guy that has been a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Yes, he hasn't played in 2 years, but Calvin Ridley is still one of the best route runners and separators in the NFL. He goes to a team now with a young quarterback who can sling it, who might throw, 30 plus TDs this season. Calvin Ridley is going to be a beneficiary. Did I say that right? A beneficiary of that. Um, Yeah, top 5 guy. I mean, he hasn't played in 2 seasons, so, that there is a little bit of risk there, but how can I put him much further than some of these other guys, with Diggs and Cheetah and Cup? Just I wanna take that chance on him. I think Trevor Lawrence is gonna sling the rock this year a lot. So, yeah, I'm all in on Calvin Ridley. A song, "You Love You" some Calvin Ridley. I'm with you on Calvin Ridley. He's grown on me, lately. But, I mean, as I said, as I've been saying all offseason, as we get closer and closer to the season, Ridley is starting to go up in ADP. More people are starting to talk about him. They're seeing the connection there with Trevor Lawrence. So, ending out this 5th round, got Calvin Ridley here for Dynasty wide receiver 20. We get into the 6th tier here, and we're gonna have my guy Quentin Johnston here. Johnson, a young, I mean, elite wide receiver that, well, if he reaches his full potential, he can be an elite wide receiver with size, the way he can run with his speed. Obviously, he's got to improve the hand catching. Obviously, he's got to improve his route running. He's got to improve getting off the line of scrimmage. He's got to improve his tested catch percentage. But Quentin Johnston, a guy that finds himself in a perfect situation where he does not have to be the number one, not have to be the number 2 right off the bat. He's got 2 experienced veterans with him with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, so it gives him a time to really, develop into the wide receiver that he can be, tied to an elite quarterback in Justin Herbert. It just puts Quentin Johnson in a great position to succeed. So really like, Quentin Johnson. I really like the spot that he landed in, because if he landed in a different spot, like Texans or something like that, wouldn't have liked him as much, because he would've just been the number 1 guy. There'd be too much attention on him. Doesn't give him a chance to, to grow and really develop into the wide receiver he could be, so yeah, I know you love you some Ridley, love him I love him too. I love him too. Gotta get me some Ridley. But, after Quentin Johnson, we got my guy Chris Godwin. I just can't push him down much further. One of the elite wide receivers in the NFL, an elite wide receiver in Matt Harmon's reception perception. Just in a bad situation right now, a very bad situation with Baker Mayfield and Kyle Trask. I mean, it's gonna be rough, with those guys. But he is a guy is starting to get a little bit older. If the Bucks decide to, they have to tear it all down and rebuild, does he get moved? Right? We go with talent over the situation. This situation can change at any point in time. Chris Godwin can get traded to a different team and all of a sudden get vaulted up. So I cannot, put him much lower than where we are here. But current situation is not good. I mean, it's a bad offense. It's a bad offensive line. No quarterback. I mean, so it's really rough there. But Marty, this is for you. We got Jordan Addison up here next. Jordan Addison goes to a Minnesota Vikings team across from Justin Jefferson with a good QB in Kirk Cousins. How long Kirk Cousins is going to be there, that we don't know. They did not extend him, so I'm not sure what's going to happen there. I think they're going to kind of see what happens this season, and then from there determine what they want to do. At the quarterback position. But I mean, Addison has a chance to be the most productive rookie in the first, in this rookie season, just by opportunity. Right off the bat with a good offense and a good quarterback. So expect Addison to step right into that number 2 role. KJ Osborne, either KJ Osborne is either outside or Addison is. I mean, Addison not great off the press, so going off the outside. But when you got JJ across from you, that doesn't leave you against the best cornerback. So I think Addison and KJ kind of will be intertwined both inside and outside. But we'll see what happens. But I mean, good opportunity for Addison. That offense is going to be just crazy, bro. Like, I got him over QJ. No, that's fair. That's fair. I can't, I'm not arguing that. They're in the same tier for me. So, I got no problem with somebody taking Addison over Quentin Johnson. Addison is going to be safer play. I think he's gonna be the safer wide receiver. I just think Quentin Johnston, his ceiling, the potential is just so much higher, and especially with a guy like Herbert, who he's gonna be with for a long period of time. I wanna just chase that potential. I'd rather chase the potential with Quentin Johnson, especially in the place that he landed. Like I said before, if it wasn't the same spot, I'd probably have Addison. I would have Addison ahead of him, but considering the situation that he fell into, I like QJ just a little bit better, but he's right there, bro. I love Addison. The trade value gonna be crazy next year. Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Actually, with QJ, if Keenan Allen gets hurt or Mike Williams gets hurt and he steps up, I mean, value could skyrocket. Addison, same thing after this season. It is gonna skyrocket, especially if Kirk Cousins winds up staying. If they play well, if they get into the playoffs and play well in the playoffs. I mean, you can see a Kirk Cousins extension. You can see that offense for another, 3, 4 years just go crazy, airing it out. So I do still like Addison a lot, bro. Up, Jamie? Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like if you haven't. If you're new and you're tuning in, appreciate you as well. Smash that sub if you like it. Mention something in the chat. Disagree with me, agree with me. Let me know what y'all think. I mean, again, it's very subjective. It's hard to come up with rankings. How much again do you value the production, the age, uh, you know, the value? I mean, how do you all intertwine it into your ranking? So just kind of just is just how I see mine. But after Addison, where am I at? All right, after Addison, I've got my guy Jahan Dotson here. Right after Addison. Situation kinda sucks because he's stuck behind Terry, but the guy that was drafted in the 1st round, what was he, number 15 overall, awesome last year, had a bunch of touchdowns in a short period of time. Is that gonna continue? We don't know. But it sucks he has to play behind Terry, but we'll see what happens going forward, but a good young wide receiver that you want. Again, we're looking at talent, not the situation. The situations change every year. So, I do like Jahan Dotson. Hopefully he stays healthy this year and Howell can at least throw the ball, and get the ball to him. We'll see what happens with Sam Howell there. We got Christian Watson up next after Jahan Dotson. I can't put him much lower than that. 2.4 yards per route run last season. Had a bunch of touchdowns that I don't know if that continues at that rate. Obviously, that was with Aaron Rodgers, but he kind of elevates old wide receivers, everybody around him. So now with Jordan Love, we'll see, what Jordan Love can do with Christian Watson. We'll see what effect Hayden Reed has on that offense coming in right away, pretty much in the slot there. So interesting to see what Christian Watson does this season with Jordan Love. After Christian Watson, I mean, I can't push this guy much lower. Is going to be JMO. Know that obviously he was suspended, and we just like we talked about earlier. Apparently, he wasn't at the facility. He was on the road with the team in the hotel when he made a bet. So I don't know if that's going to get reversed or that's going to get shortened. I'm not sure what exactly the rule is. I'm sure we'll find out shortly. It's something that I found just came up before I got on. If anybody has any info out there, let me know. Uh, what exactly is happening with that JMO thing. If anybody has any info on that. And ending this 6th tier, I've got my guy DJ Moore. I mean, the better offense. Well, I can't even really say that because that offense was horrible last year. It was just Justin Fields running, but I think DJ Moore with Justin Fields, I think he'll be around the same that he was. I mean, I feel like he's a top 20, top 20 receiver. I think he's a mid wide receiver too, can wide receiver too, with some upside. So we'll see, what DJ Moore does. But I mean, he's had what almost 1,100 yards every season for last season. Obviously, I like me some DJ Moore. It's hard for me to put him, much lower than that. But I mean, that's basically what is that 24, 25, 26, or something like that. Wide receivers. It's my 6 tiers of wide receivers. How I'm looking at it in Dynasty. When I'm drafting, this is kind of how I'm breaking it down. Into who I want on my squad. But yeah, let me know. Let me know what y'all think about wide receivers here. How I rank them. Let me know if you've got much changes. Agree, disagree. Let me have it while I'm here, and then we're gonna hit off with my Supernova 12. I've got the first two guys I showed y'all last week, and I've got one more to add for this week. So I'm gonna show you the first three players of my Supernova 12. What is the Supernova 12? I mean, just hang out for a couple minutes. I'll play that for you in a second, so y'all can see what that is. DJ Moore over Adams. Okay, fair, fair. You like DJ Moore? Okay. I mean, it's a big tier here. It's a big tier. You know, you want that production right now or not? So that's really what it comes down to there. I've always been a DJ Moore fan, so no, I'm okay if you got him higher. I mean, I can't argue much there. Got the production to back it up. He just hasn't had a good quarterback. And we'll see if Justin Fields takes that next step up in the passing game. So small son, but I trust you made all the right calls. Yeah, I mean, you see it here. You see it here. You let me know, bro. You let me know. Much further down would Pickens be? He would be coming up. Hold on. Got him. I've got him actually right after JMO. So he right after DJ Moore. JMO and DJ Moore. So be Be right there. Be right there. And then, I've got Burks after that, and I got Amari. So I'll give y'all just a few more, give y'all a few more, but that's how mine is rounding up. Pickens, yeah, Pickens coming up next. I mean, listen, he had like a 16% target share. Doesn't get good separation, doesn't run great routes, so it's what I'm a little bit worried about with Pickens. I'd rather wait a little bit and take Deontay Johnson instead. Deontay Johnson is a guy I really like. I mean, like fifth in the league in targets last year. So 0 touchdowns, but was 30th in PPR. I mean, yeah, I'll take Deontay Johnson over Pickens. So some elite trades today during a rookie draft. What'd you wind up doing, Jamie? Let me know. More DJ Moore over Adams. Then yeah, I mean, I can't get behind that one, but I can see why you would have him there. Why you would have him there. So everybody values things differently. Everybody's got different feelings. So and nothing wrong with that, man. Traded Michael Thomas for the 209 to take Mims. Okay. Also trading Thornton for the 308 to draft Tillman. Okay. Not bad. Bad. I like it. I like Tillman. I like Mims. So leagues that don't start tight end, where do you rank the top 3, 4 tight ends on this list? Kelsey, Hawk, Andrews, Pitts. Well, if it's tight end, it's tight end premium, right? You're talking about Hustlers leagues like tight end premium. Listen, those guys score fucking. Uh, those guys score points. So just to give you an example here, took Hawkinson early, but put up 300. Like Hawkinson put up 362 fantasy points last season. And Jalen Waddle, if I look at his production, Jalen Waddle put up 381 points of fantasy production last season. And this is in one of Hustlers league. So that's how the scoring is TJ Hawkinson put up 20 less points than Jalen Waddle did with the added tight end premium. So when you're taking that into consideration, I mean Hawkinson would be up like in this range here with T. Higgins, Drake London's like he would be up in here. Mean, he's a young tight end that's scoring that many points. I mean, he'd be in this range here. You could argue that you could put the older guys ahead of the tight end, especially if you don't have to start a tight end. But depending how you wanna do it, so that's just kind of gives you an example there. What the tight end premium does or changes those elite tight ends. So same league traded Madison for the 109 to draft Kincaid. Okay, okay, like that. I like Johnson over Pickens. Yeah, I like Johnson over Pickens too. And if I'm win now, I'm taking it. I think I got Deontay right after Amari Cooper here because I believe in that Browns offense more than I do the Steelers. I have him up here. Yeah, I don't even have him. Yeah, I do have him up here. I'd have Deontay right after Amari there. Tight end premium. Yeah, 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 bro. That's why I took that's why I took Hawkinson like early. It's a guy I can kind of build around because if he does what he did last season or even better, I mean, he's putting up, most wide receiver 2 numbers, like, so how you that's how you gotta look at it with some of these tight end premiums and click on all you gotta do is just click on them. I mean, you can see, um, what the difference is. Like, let me pull up Kelsey real quick. So Travis Kelsey put up geez, 527 fantasy points last season. It's just nuts. Uh, Hill put up 533. So Travis Kelsey had just as many points as Tyreek Hill. Look at Justin Jefferson, 571. I mean, he's at 527. So I mean, 50 points behind the wide receiver one is Travis Kelsey. That's insane when you add in that, even that little extra half point. So, hey, true, Derek. Guys, hit that like, smash that subscribe if you're new, if you're hanging out. Appreciate y'all. Um, yeah, I mean that's my wide receiver ranking coming into the season. And I do project out. So yeah, I have maybe some of the younger guys ahead of some of the older guys because that's how I like to project out. That's how I like to, how I'm looking to, draft my team, how I'm looking at the board. So let's get into my Supernova 12. Okay, what is the Supernova 12? I know I introduced that on Thursday on Hustler's channel, so I've got one more guy to add. I've also, added a little bit more to my first and second guy. So it's just something little kind of funny thing I was doing, trying to put together, 12 guys that I think this year are going to, take off in dynasty, value, or they could be, rebounding from, a bad season or whatever the case is. Got 12 guys here, and I'm gonna play it for you. You guys let me know. You guys let me know what you think. First one here is just gonna introduce like what is Supernova 12. So turn up the volume real quick, but here it is.
What is the supernova 12? A supernova is powerful and luminous explosion of a star. There are 12 extraordinary men that are about to explode in Dynasty fantasy football. These men are referred to as the supernova 12.
That's the Supernova 12. Okay, just guys that are about to explode. And I showed you the first guy last week, which was Garrett Wilson, and I'll play that for you here now as well.
The first member of the supernova 12 is Mr. Garrett Wilson, also known as G. Willie. This elite 22-year-old second-year wide receiver had over 1,100 yards with garbage quarterback play as a rookie. Wilson has elite success rates against man zone and press coverages. Now with Hall of Fame QB Aaron Rodgers, this star is about to explode.
Garrett Wilson, my number one guy in the Supernova 12. So of course, Garrett Wilson. We spoke about him a little bit earlier. I think it's a good, just something a little different. Get people thinking about shit. We'll see how many of these guys wound up, hitting or increasing in value. Going into next season. But yeah, Garrett Wilson, the first guy on that list. And you can say it. I guess it's obvious or not, but the second guy we got up here, which I introduced last week as well, but I'll play that for you because I didn't have a voiceover for it. But here's the next guy in the Supernova 12.
The second member of the supernova 12 is Chris Olave. This elite 22-year-old second-year wide receiver had over 1,000 yards with garbage quarterback play as a rookie. Olave, similar to Wilson, has elite success rates against man zone and press coverages. Last year had a 29.3% target rate, good for 10th in the NFL. 3rd in air yards. 9th in ADOT. 4th in deep targets and 10th in yards per route run. With new QB Derek Carr slinging the rock, Olave is ready to explode.
The deep targets are the thing with Olave because Derek Carr can throw that thing. We saw him last year with Devontae Adams. So yeah, I tried to put a little bit of context into it why I think they're going to break out, and I usually post individual videos, and you see me talking about these guys all the time. So I'm kind of just put everything into there with a short little preview of it. So yeah, I mean, listen, Chris Olave, another guy over 2+ yards per route run in his rookie season. I mean, he's destined to succeed. I mean, that's why he's my dynasty wide receiver 8. I mean, with a quarterback that can get him the football a lot better than what last year is. So you gotta love me some Chris Olave, the second guy here who I think is going to bust out this season. And I figured I introduced a third guy today on Thursday. Maybe I'll introduce the fourth guy on Thursday's show. But I've got the third guy here of my Supernova 12, and let me play that one for you so you can hear what's going on with that.
Meet this member of the supernova 12. His name is Jerry Jeudy. With a strong finish to last season and a new Hall of Fame coach in Sean Payton, he should get Russell Wilson back on track. It can't get any worse than that trash of an offense they had last year. At just 24 years old, the former first-round pick is ready to explode.
Okay, Jerry Judy finally is ready. I mean, unfortunate, obviously, the first few seasons he was there with the injuries, with the QB play. And we finally saw last year, towards the end of that season, once they fired dude, Russell Wilson and Jerry Judy started to cook a little bit. And now going into the season, you've got Sean Payton, who knows how to coach, who knows how to get the best out of his playmakers and out of his elite players. So, yeah, I think Jerry Judy is finally going to break out this season. I mean, he was a top 20 wide receiver last season. What he finished in the low 20s. He was a wide receiver too, wide receiver 22 PPR. So yeah, Jerry Judy, I mean, it's only up from here. The issue is just staying healthy. If he can stay healthy, he can easily outproduce what he did last year. 372 yards, I mean, 6 touchdowns. Should be able to beat that this year, especially if Russell Wilson takes that step up because there's no way there's no way they can be any worse than what they were last year. I just don't see how they can be any worse. But yeah, you guys let me know. Let me know what you think about the 3 guys in the Supernova 12 so far. And I'll be trying to just introduce them one at a time, as we do these shows. So, Judy to the moon, yeah, that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying. I like Judy. Don't have him anywhere, but I wish I did now. Yeah, 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 man. And he's listen, even right now, like he's still going for relatively cheap. I mean, people aren't, you know, uh, hovering over him like he's a top 20 guy. I mean, he's still relatively cheap. He's worth about a late first, early second round pick right now. Depending who the GM is and how they feel about Jerry Judy. I mean, the guy that is or should be available in leagues. So see if you can go get him. So oh, he's in all right. So he is in the Supernova 12. So yeah, I'll give you that. My feelings for Elijah Moore. Yeah, I think he's destined for a breakout this season. So yeah, he is going to be on this list at some point, but I'm holding off on it. Um, until I'm all finished up drafting, so nobody scoops him up. Appreciate you, song. Appreciate you. I like the 3 guys I picked so far. Yeah, yeah, those are going to be my dudes so far. I've got a couple running backs. Then I'm not going to introduce them yet. But oh man. Yeah. On Thursday, I'll introduce another one. On Thursday, I don't know what we're going to talk about on Thursday. Let's find some OTA clips so we can see what's going on in OTA so far. Play y'all a couple different clips, what's going on. But yeah, I mean, any questions y'all got, let me know. I mean, has there been any? I don't think there's been any like recent news that's popped out last time. When Thursday I was on. Well, I mean Saquon Barkley, right? I mean, we've been talking about this kind of all off season where kind of affects his value, Saquon, because we don't know where the fuck he's going to be. I mean, he turned down the deal earlier. I mean, Hammer kept bringing that up that he turned down the deal earlier in the season, the 4-year deal, whatever it was that they offered him, 13 mil. And I mean, now he's saying he doesn't want to be the highest player. So it's like, what the fuck? What is it? So I mean, listen, just sign the multi-year deal, lock yourself down, lock the money down while you can. I mean, they're willing to give you a multi-year deal, whatever the fuck it is. Just take it, 12 mil, 13 mil. I mean, come on. I didn't see Tony. Yeah, well, listen, that was 3. That was 3 of the 12. Maybe Tony's on there. Maybe Tony's not. Maybe he is part of it. We shall see. That's coming soon. So hopefully Russell Wilson comes through. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think that Sean Payton kind of understands what Russell Wilson is going through as far as his age and what his capabilities are, and how limited a little bit that he is from what he was earlier in his career. just like Drew Brees was. Drew Brees wasn't a guy that can really push the ball down the field towards the end of his career, and Sean Payton turned that offense into just this short Michael Thomas fucking slant route and curl offense with Kamara coming out the backfield. So think that, he finds a way to play to Russell Wilson's strengths. I don't think Sean Payton is gonna fail us, but we'll see. We'll see. There's a chance that Russell Wilson just is straight garbage. I mean, were plays last year that we saw guys were just wide open and Russell Wilson wasn't seeing them. Maybe he's better this season. We shall see. So I mean, it's still a question mark. It's still a risk, but this is what we do. We take risks. Especially in Dynasty, we try and get these guys before they break out, so that they don't cost you so much. We try and get them before that cost goes up. So trying to get D Hop off your team, would you be trying now or wait until he lands on a team? I think it all depends on the deal, really. I think it depends on what you're getting back. So if you're not getting thing back that you feel like is really going to help your team, or it's not sexy enough, then yeah, I just wait, because there is going to be a time where his value is going to go up when he finally does sign to a team. So, is it? But then again, is it going to be a good spot or is it going to be a bad spot? Right? Is it going to be the fucking Texans, or is it going to be the Bills? Like, that's the thing. So, going to a team could hurt its value or it could increase its value. So it really just depends on what you get offered there, for D Hop. So I'd shop him around, see what's the best offers that you get for him, and kind of take it like that. You don't have to make a trade, but it doesn't hurt to go out there and see what you can get for him. So Tony's the sleeper pick. Hey, I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing. I like Tony. I've got a bunch of stock of Tony. Got him in the 19. I think I got him in the 19. Yeah, I got him in the 19. I don't think I got that much stock. Right. Yeah, I just got him in the 19. That's all. Um, I'm lying. I got him in another league too. All right, so I got him in 2 leagues. Let me know what's my percentage on Tony. It's gonna be low, but 209. Okay, let me know what else. What else I want to talk about? Any other news that came out? Let me check ESPN real quick. I don't think anything else really came out as of late. Lions relationship with ex wide receiver Calvin Johnson. Alvin, long gone, long gone. Vikings finally released Cook. Where's he gonna go? I mean, is he gonna go to the Dolphins? Is he gonna go to the Dolphins? Is he gonna go elsewhere? It was interesting actually. McDaniels was in a press conference the other day, and he was asked about his backfield, and um, he mentioned Wilson, he mentioned Mostert, he mentioned Miles Gaskin, and then he said, "Then we have the rookies, and the rookies are just being rookies. Uh, you know, mistakes. Rookies are going to make mistakes." Didn't even say A Chain's name or anything, but I thought it was interesting that he mentioned uh, Gaskin along with Mostert and Wilson. I thought that was very interesting. I don't know if I'm thinking too much into it, but just one of those things. Why we worry about a guy like Devin A Chain, because they just got a ton of guys there. So I don't know if anybody else saw that. Let me know. But yeah, the thing with Dalvin is now he's saying he wants fucking money, and people weren't willing to give Eckler money. You think people are going to be willing to give Cook money? Unfortunately, it's not a matter of if he can still produce at that level. Because if he got the workload, he can still produce at that level. It's just his age now and how the NFL feels and the contracts and the money, which is another reason why we hate running backs, and the running backs cliff falls off a lot sooner than the other positions, because the teams just don't want to pay you once you get to that age. So it's not always just about, the talent and what they got left. It matters like just what teams want to do. They don't want to pay you, give you a workload if they don't have to. Flowers and Ridley or Dotson? I'm thinking there's more value on the Flowers. Yeah, I'm absolutely taking Ridley and Flowers over Dotson easily. You see where I got Ridley ranked there, my wide receiver 20. Flowers is a guy that I like as well. On a little bit of crowded offense, but they should be throwing the ball more. I'll love to take the chance on Flowers and take the production of Ridley. So, yeah, I take Ridley and Flowers all day. And yeah, I mean, listen, even if you don't like Flowers, you take the trade. You get Ridley, and then you use the value in Flowers to trade him, or vice versa. I mean, you can trade Ridley if you want, depending on your team situation. So, you definitely like the Flowers Ridley side pretty easily. That's like an auto smash for me. You trade Javante and a 24 third for Madison. No, fuck no. No, no, Song. Don't do that, bro. Do that, brother. Please don't do that. Listen, Madison is a guy that I like, but he's not automatically a top 10, top 12 guy. Has he been a top 10 guy most of the games that he's played in Dalvin Cook's place? Yes, but he hasn't done that over a course of a season and got a workload like that. He's on a 2-year deal, but we don't know what's going to happen after that. I just don't know. They're gonna be passing finished what, RB 11, I think, last year, something like that, or was it 15? I don't know. RB 11 last year. So I think Javante is a younger guy, gonna be in an offense with Sean Payton, who notoriously has some good running backs. Saw what he can do with Kamara. Javante can catch the ball as well. We saw what he can do with Ingram on the same squad. So no, I'm not trading. I know Javante got hurt bad, and it was not a Brees-like injury. It was more like a JK injury, and I know that sucked. But I like Javante at least for 2024. Maybe he's not as good this season, but you can expect that because he is coming back from the injury. No, I'm not paying that to go get Madison by any means. And Madison could very well be good and be a top 12 guy, but I'm not taking that chance or that I'm not losing that value. And Edwards, nothing. Not really even thinking about him. I like Shaheed way better. Um, I like even A.T. Perry. I'm done with the Brian Edwards project. That's kind of ship has been sailed. No chance that's what you get. There's not. I mean, we just saw Eckler, a top running back, just be able to get any money or a deal from anybody. Nobody wanted him. So nobody wants to pay him. They're just getting up there in age. And again, it's not about the talent or what they got left in the tank. Just more on the business side. They don't want to pay these guys. So they're still waiting on Dalvin to figure out where he's going to go. But what do we do? The problem with Dalvin is I don't think he's got top 12 upside. Really, no matter where he goes, that I don't know where he's just going to be the automatic guy getting the workload. He'll be splitting carries with somebody somewhere. So I'm off Dalvin Cook. Like last year was the year to trade Dalvin Cook, or the year before that. Earlier is always better than later. That's where you're getting your, max return for it. Throw, I mean, is what third wide receiver on that team with Jimmy G at quarterback. I'm not. I don't really like Renfro at all. Does he wind up going to a new team sooner or later? Sure. I'm not actively trying to get him, but I'll buy him when he goes to a new team. I don't think his price is going to be too crazy. Oh, yeah, Renfro's not a guy I'm on. I'm okay with trading Renfro. Bushan. Bushan is a guy that has a chance to take over the backfield in time. I don't think that happens this season. I mean, there's big talk now about Herbert, who was being talked up of, earlier as well, but I don't think he's a three. I just think it's like a three down. committee where you're gonna see Herbert, you're gonna see Roshan, you're gonna see, um, what's his name, Donta Foreman. I mean, on a rushing team that Fields loves to rush the ball as well. So, I mean, I don't know how much touchdown upside is there. I don't know how much receiving work upside there is, for the running backs. So he is a risk. He's a guy that I like. I don't know, if it happens this season. Now next season, they don't re-sign Donta Foreman, and it's only Herbert and Roshan. Then you've got those two guys in the committee workload. After that season, depending or not if they bring Herbert back, who was the 6th round pick, they didn't spend much on him. At that point, then in the third season, maybe Roshan is the number one guy and the workhorse guy. So there is a path there, but somebody's going to have to get injured, or it may just take time. I don't know how this offense is going to run as far as the committee, or going with the hot hand, or just picking one guy that's going to be the first and second down guy, and picking one guy that'll be the third down guy. I don't know. So bit rough, situation with Roshan. I think you kind of just have to be patient a little bit. I like Kendra Miller better. I think there's a very good chance that Mara gets bended. So I think that Jay Miller has a good chance to try and kind of produce right away and hold a role. But we'll see what happens with the Kamara situation. So what happened to Tariq Cohen? He's just a small running back that got injured. I think he tore his ACL, and then that was kind of it from there. And I think new coaching staff came in, new regime, and it's important, especially in Dynasty, right? When new coaching comes in, a new regime comes in, and it's not their guys. They're not the guys that drafted those current players on that team. They might not like those certain players, like the old coaching staff did, the old regime. So it's always tough with that. Check. I mean, Cohen was a little sneaky guy, a little Darren Sproles ish esque type. Um, But y'all, I'm about to get up. I'm about to get up out of here. Unless y'all got any other questions, throw them out there. Appreciate y'all for coming out. Make sure you guys smash that like for me. Do me that favor. Smash that subscribe if you're new. If you're hanging out, let's throw Gruden in as a consultant. Yeah, good for Gruden. I mean, he didn't do jack shit for the Raiders anyway. So I mean, yes, yes. I mean, Olave and Kendra Miller are really the only two guys I really want to own the Saints team. Jamal Williams could very well be the third down guy, the pass catching guy. Apparently, got him doing all the pass catching. Kendra Miller maybe is the first and second down guy. And Kendra Miller didn't really do much in the pass game in college. Not that he can't catch. I think he's capable, but he's not, kind of pass catching savant. So you've got Jamal Williams, who originally did specialize in catching the football. Him out there on the receiving end, and maybe Kendra Miller is the first and second down guy. So I don't know if there's any way Kamara can't get suspended after the videos came out. You can clearly see this dude. So I just don't know why they're waiting so long, but I think eventually that hammer will come down, and Kendra Miller is going to be flying up the draft boards. Jamal Williams as well. So Kendra Miller, a guy that could really make a name for himself early on if this situation occurs where Kamara gets suspended. I do prefer Trey Miller right above Roach. Good, Jamie. All good. We're good, Jamie. Come to on Thursday. We're back at it Thursday. Wednesday, maybe we'll do a mock draft Wednesday. I haven't done one in a couple weeks, so maybe we'll get back on our mock draft Wednesdays. But send y'all the link if we wound up doing that. But yeah, man. See ya, y'all. Throw anything else out there real quick. I'm about to get off this, but Marty, Derek, Amy, Song, Crispy, everyone else out there who's came through. Thank for Garland. Appreciate you. Guy Bayou coming through as well. But yeah, let me get up out of here. Appreciate y'all. I will see y'all Thursday, if not Wednesday. I prefer Roshan over Miller. Redraft for Dynasty, super close. Do you? Do you like Roshan over Miller in redraft? Okay, it's tough, but yeah. All right. Until next time, y'all. Peace.